Lato is talking with Adesuwa Lato. Today, we'll be looking away from political and national issues to issues that has to do with emotions. And we're looking at domestic abuse. What are domestic abuse? Types of domestic abuse and its effect on both genders. And to do justice on this great topic today, I have a very distinguished personality, a notable person in Benin City, Edo State, Nigeria, and is in the person of Osase George Omoigi. You're welcome on my program.
Thank you for having me.
So nice to have you. I'm excited because it took me a whole lot to get you here.
Thank you.
But I sure know that you do justice to this topic today. All right, first of all, Mr. George, what is domestic abuse?
I think the first thing we'll have to look at is what is abuse.
Okay.
Abuse is anything that is negative, that affects the other person, or sorry, anything that affects the other person negatively. Okay. I think that should be defined as abuse. Whatsoever action someone takes that affects the other person negatively is abuse. And when you say domestic abuse, it's abuse that is domestic. Okay. It means that it's something, it's an action that comes from someone that is close to you. Someone like a partner, a father, a mother, and all that. There is a close relationship. So between you and the person. Yeah. So that's what is domestic abuse is. So when someone close to you pulls out an action that affects you negatively, it means you're being abused domestically. Okay. So I think that's domestic abuse. Okay. And
Okay, so what's its effect on both gender? When we talk about domestic abuse, we hear cases of people being physically beaten in a relationship, either maritally or family relationship, no more friendship, or otherwise. People being beaten and to stupor, sometimes even to death. So what kind of abuse are those? Can that be described as a domestic abuse or?
Yes, it is. If it's coming from someone close, it's domestic. That's in my own perspective. Now, there are different types of domestic abuse. You have psychological, which has to do with the mind. You have emotional. You have physical, which is very popular amongst folks these days. You have financial. Okay. And you have financial abuse. Yes, there's financial abuse. Okay. And you have, which other one could we categorize now as domestic abuse? Emotional. Emotional. We've said that. There's emotional abuse, there's psychological, there's financial, and there's sexual abuse. Okay. I think those four are something we should do justice to. Okay. Now, the popular notion out there is, for it to be called domestic abuse, it has to involve physical violence. Okay. Now, a man is beating his wife. A boyfriend is beating his girlfriend, or a woman is beating her maid, and all that. Those are what they call domestic abuse. But I think there is a deeper touch that we haven't really focused on. That doesn't just center on physical abuse only, and that's psychological and emotional. Now, the mind is a very funny place. When you keep feeding the mind with informations that are negative, it has a way of tempering with the balance of the individual. And a lot of people, both partners and all that, go through this every single day of their lives, and they don't even know they are being abused. Okay. They don't even know they are being abused. Then the resulting effect are people with low self-esteem, women that believe that they don't deserve better than what they are getting right now. Now, it takes years of tampering with their mindset to put them in that position. You're dating someone and constantly they give you information or feed you information that reduces who you are, your self-esteem. It's actually abuse. And the crazy thing is, this kind of abuse can also lead to people committing suicide, people being in physical abusive relationship, and they feel that they can't get something better out there. So they are stuck with this. It started with the mind. But over time, we focus on, is he beating you? Did he lay his hands on you? What did he shout at you? Did he do this? That is not just it. Now, the root of it is, first of all, psychological. It's mental. If a person you're dating keeps tampering with your mental adjustment, even if he physically abuses you,
Yeah.
you won't be able to leave that relationship because you already feel that you can't get better
Elsewhere. Okay.
So he's going to continue to do it.
All right.
And when he continues to do it, it becomes detrimental to you. Now, get this. When we talk about abuse generally,
Okay.
you have to understand that people not knowing the threshold, in other words, not knowing what they can take personally, is a very big problem.
Okay.
Because in all relationships, there is no perfect person.
Absolutely.
If you're sitting and you're waiting to have a perfect father, a perfect mother, a perfect spouse, and all that, you can never get it. So there is no perfect individual.
Room for working towards perfection.
Exactly. There is room for improvement. Yeah. So the fact that there's no perfect person, it means that in every relationship, there's always going to be abuse.
Okay.
Always going to be abuse.
When you say there's always going to be abuse, what type of abuse?
Let me give you an example.
Are we saying that there's room for domestic abuse?
No, not really.
Emotional abuse?
No,
What
not
type
really.
of
But let me
abuse?
give you an
Okay.
example.
All right.
If you're dating someone,
Okay.
there are situations that could arise and the person could shout at you. The person could say words they're not supposed to say. Hurtful words at that point. It's actually abuse.
Okay.
But there is a level to which it can be accommodated.
Okay. All right.
That is why if you Google what abuse is, it ends with something that is done repeatedly. Intentionally one,
Okay.
but repeatedly
Okay.
with an intent to hurt. Okay. So you're dating someone and you're complaining about a particular thing and it doesn't change. It keeps doing it
Over and
over again. That is abusive.
That's deliberate as well.
Deliberate as well. Now, but when you're dating someone, he does something wrong that tampers with your emotions, and you talk to him, and he or she rather puts in effort to want to change that attitude, it's allowed.
Okay.
Are you getting me?
Yeah.
It's allowed. But you also don't need to eliminate the fact that your threshold, in other words, how much can you take of this attitude matters a lot.
Okay.
Now, different persons and their threshold. What I could bear is not the same thing you can also bear.
Absolutely.
You get what I'm saying? Now, if I know the extent to which I can accommodate this, I know when to leave and when to stay.
Okay. So is that where so many people get it?
That is where we miss it.
Okay.
Now, people are in relationships that they should have left 10 years ago. I don't care if it's marriage. I don't care if you're just dating the person. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
And another issue is, when we talk about abuse most times, we're always looking at the feminine gender. Men go through abuse too, especially emotional.
In what way?
Men are naturally proud.
Okay.
Men have ego naturally. Anything that tampers with that ego is abusive. Anything that tampers with it is abusive. Now, when I say ego, I'm not saying you should I'm not saying you should be unnecessarily according to Kisdani Buga. No, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is what makes the man man.
Okay.
What keeps him as a man is self-esteem.
Okay.
I'm not also saying women don't have self-esteem, but that of the man is obvious.
Okay.
A man wants to be a man.
Wants to be in charge.
In charge. Anything that puts him off is abuse. I'll give you an example. You're dating someone and the reason I'm using dating is because most times these are where we see major of this abuse. Now, you're dating someone and you constantly use words that tamper with his mind, which is psychological, and makes him feel like he's not good enough to be a man.
Good enough.
It's abuse. And we see that every day. You see a woman calling a man, you are a fool, you are an idiot, you are useless, you are this.
But the question is, sorry to cut you short, if you are treating the man that way, why being in the relationship then with the man?
It's the same conversation we are having.
Okay.
I can't answer why because I'm not the person.
Yeah, sure.
But I could tell you that if you are in such a relationship, now I'll speak to the man. If you're in such a relationship, it's better you quit. But unfortunately, both men and women don't know exactly when to cut the line.
Yeah.
You need to draw the line somewhere. Yeah. There's so much you can take. So much you can take. But the bottom line is, there is always going to be one abuse or the other in a relationship. Your spouse is going to offend you. Your parents are going to offend you. Do you know there are a lot of things that is equals to emotional abuse in our homes from our parents that they see as training? They equate it that they are training you, whereas they are actually abusing you emotionally. You know, anything that hinders someone from taking a decision they feel is good for themselves is actually abuse.
Wow.
If you check if you study hard on abuse, you find out that there are a lot of pointers that points to even our daily actions. The words you say to your staff, that is abuse. The words you say to even a random guy passing the street, that is abusive. These all tempers with the psychic of people.
Okay.
And it reflects in their everyday
activities
and all that.
Wow, that's a whole lot. All right, so what effects does this have on both gender?
A society that is not balanced.
Okay.
You see men that are emotionally tortured, women that are emotionally tortured, and these people live with us every single day. And it affects their daily dealings, the way they talk, the way they do. Some people even go as far as killing themselves. You see someone and say, I can't take it anymore. It jumps off the bridge and all that. And it's actually as a result of what they've been hearing over time that has tempered with their adjustments.
Okay.
Now, let's just focus a little bit on spouses, husbands and wives. Now, scripturally, permit me, the man has a mandate of love, not the woman. The Bible says, men, love your wife, even as Christ loved the church. What kind of love did Christ have for the church? It was sacrificial.
Unconditional.
Unconditional, to the extent that, according to the scriptures now, he was willing to die.
Lay down his life.
Yes. The woman doesn't have that same mandate. And I think this point is where most of us mix it. The woman has the mandate of submission. It says, wives, submit to your husband as the church is to Christ. Now, if I point out something there, the love of Christ to the church is perfect.
Okay.
But the submission of the church to Christ is not.
It's not perfect. Not at all.
But
okay.
God is giving this instruction to imperfect people. So there are bound to be errors or faulty lines and all that. But the bottom line is, the man is tasked with loving the woman, and the woman is tasked with submission. Now, when love is done rightly, submission comes naturally. Now, anything that deviates from this is an issue that needs to be fixed. A man doesn't just beat a woman.
Okay. I've been wanting to know what's the cause of that.
As much as it is wrong,
okay,
something happened that tampered with his disposition. Now, I am someone that would tell you that no matter what a woman does, you are not supposed to lay your hands on her, no matter what she does. Because, funny enough, where exactly are you going to hit? They are soft creatures that should not be beaten or should be treated with care and love. But your mouth just keeps running. Now,
okay,
until you fix where it's coming from,
okay,
which is totally different from the man. Some men have grew up rather in homes where it's totally violent. They grew up with their father beating their mother.
Absolutely.
They grew up, sometimes their parents don't even beat each other, but they see things, they hear things, you understand, that finally culminates, it grows into becoming a monster.
Yeah.
You understand?
And they grow up like
If you can't fix that faulty line, you can't
Then it
change.
reflects.
Exactly.
You can't change it.
You know what I'm saying? You can't change this person. And number two, some women grow up in homes where their mothers abuse their parents. And now you're abusing a guy that probably is coming from this angle also. So you tell him one, he replies with his fist.
Okay.
So you see that there is so much abuse in this circle now from the man and from the woman.
Absolutely.
So until we start fixing their psychological issues, you can't actually change anything.
Okay.
I was having a conversation with someone, and she gave a scenario. She said, love itself is crazy. And you love someone so badly. And the person, you know that this person has an habit that they do regularly. Huh? But you love them regardless.
Regardless, okay.
And you talk to them to change. And they are not changing. What do you do? And I said, fine. Number one is this. It's simple. If I love you, and I tell you, Adesuwa, this thing you're doing, I don't like it. This thing you're doing, I don't like it. Now, if you love me, or if you're submitted to me, you are supposed to at least put an effort.
Okay.
Now, understand that I said the word effort because the change doesn't come drastic. Any change that is drastic should be questioned.
Questionable.
You should put in an effort
Okay.
to want to change. Now, that effort put in regularly becomes the change that you will be radiating.
Okay.
I don't even know what I'm saying.
Exactly.
It becomes the change that you will be radiating.
Yeah.
But when the person is not putting in that effort to change, it's obvious that it is now intentional to hurt.
To hurt.
So at that point, you should know when to say, I'm done.
Okay. So, can we also say that men don't change?
We do actually.
Okay.
We do. We change. But it depends on how you're affecting it.
Okay.
You can't order a man to change. You can't force a man to change.
Okay.
Every man, no matter how crazy or how strong he is, has a very soft spot. There is someone somewhere that talks to him and he calms and he listens.
I've seen situations where men over and over again, years goes by, they do not change.
Because probably you're not the agent of that change.
Okay.
It's simple.
All right. So that aside, how do they come out of this? I mean, those with such violence, domestic violence, emotional, and all those types of violence that you have mentioned, that you have highlighted today. How do they come out of
Run.
this? Run, practically?
Just keep running. Now,
Okay.
let me explain what I mean by
Please
run.
do. All right, please do.
If you know what is not good for you, if you know that this thing tempers with my mental adjustment. Okay, let me even use this example. Would you literally take your hands and put it in fire to burn? Why?
No way. No way.
Because you know fire hurts.
Don't do that.
You know it hurts.
Of course it
Good.
hurts.
Now, if this thing hurts you regularly, the simple solution is walk away. Now, you could tell me it's difficult. Yes. Yes. Especially when you've invested time, invested effort, invested almost everything you have, even your body, to be with this person. I agree. But now, you have to choose between the past and the future.
And one thing we're missing out, sorry, I think the aspect of what are people going to say.
Yes,
as well.
but if you, as a mature person, still keeps living your life with what are people going to say, then I think the person is not mature enough.
What's going to happen to me afterwards?
In the end, what if you
I've got
die?
kids, for example, a married woman would say, I've got kids, I've got like 2, 3. Who do I take them to?
Now,
who will take responsibility for them?
I agree with you now, but this is it. We live in a very cultural society, very traditional society, where we've had teachings that puts both the woman and the man on a certain pedestal.
Okay.
Now, sorry to say this, I'm a very cultural person, trust me. But I think our culture has taught the men to always...
Buga.
Thank you. And it has taught the women to always bear.
Okay.
I think it has done that. But it doesn't make it right. Because the good thing about culture is it's supposed to advance. It's supposed to grow. Yeah. There are some teachings you were taught when you were younger. Those teachings, now you can't apply them. You have to advance in them. Even technology, you advance in technology. I think we should be able to advance in our cultures. To know that these things, this particular thing is biased to a certain set of people. We should adjust it. That is why you even see constitutional amendment. It should always be amended. There should always be. Now, as an individual, you are in a relationship with someone, and this person keeps hurting you.
Hurting you, abusing you.
Also, sorry to say this, sorry to change this line of thought. You have to understand that sometimes what hurts you will not hurt me.
Okay.
I'm talking about two different people now.
Yeah.
Both
people
female, both male. People are different. What hurts you will not hurt me. But it means that if I am with you, I have to learn to love you the way you want to be loved.
That's right.
Now, the thing is, the day I decided to be with you, or you decided to be with me, we owe ourselves some responsibility to each other. So when I deviate from that responsibility, it is me abusing you. And if it becomes constant and repeated, the logical thing to do is to flee. Because even the same scripture we read, in loving God, God said, love him with all your heart and with all your mind. It means use your heart and also use your head. In loving God, there must be logic. So in loving another person who is physical, who is imperfect, there should be logic.
Absolutely.
So we dive into a relationship with our heart and forget our head at home.
That shouldn't affect our intelligence.
It's simple. So we should be able to know that this is good and this is bad, because there is a very big line between good and bad. What is good is good. What is bad is bad.
Definitely.
And what is good for you is good for what is bad. And when you keep getting what is bad for you every single time, the natural thing is leave. Now, you could tell me that it's difficult, you can't just leave. Okay, at least start to withdraw. When you start withdrawing, when you start separating yourself from this gradually,
that is supposed to send a message naturally.
And if the change is still not coming, then you know that, okay, this time, no, it's a no for me.
Okay.
And we've had a lot of domestic violence cases lately, a lot of them.
A lot.
That has even resulted in death. I think there's a very popular one that has resulted in death.
Just recently.
And I keep hearing she should have left. Yes, she should have left. She should have talked with someone. Because that's the only solution. There's nothing else. And if you don't tell someone what you go through, they wouldn't know how to help. Okay. The question is, who are you even telling?
Okay.
Who are you telling? Most of us are used to telling our tales to people that wouldn't be able to help.
Okay. Now the question is, who are you talking to? Who are you telling you're going through such issues, such situations like that? And the most recent one was that of, I must mention, is already in the public domain, Osinachi, who died based on that scenario. Although the husband has come out to refute that allegations, but it's still very much unclear. So right now, if you're going through such situation, emotional abuse, domestic abuse, you can come out, you can speak up to those who will be ready and willing to listen to you and also do the needful by helping you come out of it. Right now, you can actually send us a mail if you know you're going through such issues and you need someone to talk to who can help you out of it. You can send us a mail on goldpointmedia8@gmail.com and on qawithgeorge@gmail.com. This is a program who is talking with Adesuwa Lato. We do hope we've been able to speak to your conscience a lot today on some of these issues that has to do with emotional, the
Domestic violence.
Domestic abuse. Thanks a lot for joining us on the show. We sue for your constant tuning into the show. But before we go, I'd like to hear from my guests.
I'd like everyone to be aware that there are different forms of violence or abuse, emotional, sexual, financial, and all that.
Okay.
At any point where you feel you're not comfortable with this, learn to discuss with your spouse or your partner or whosoever, whether parents and all that. Learn to talk out. And if you are not getting the desired change, seek help. And if you can't get the necessary, the final thing is walk away.
Walk away.
Thank you.
Walk away. The Gmail will be screen on the scroll bar. Just send us an email today. Today, don't do it later. Send us an email as soon as you watch this video. Thanks a lot for joining us. Bye for now. The program you just watched is our first episode on types of domestic abuses, and we actually dwelt on the different types of abuses today. Join us as we come on the program with sexual abuse. You don't want to miss it. Stay with me on the show who is talking with Adesowa Lato.